Sometimes it's good when characters are put in their place, especially in a shonen anime when characters are arrogant and think they're too strong, and then they're promptly humiliated by their opponents. In this video, we're gonna be going over every single one of the worst humiliations that ever happened in the Naruto story. Now, bear in mind that being humiliated is different from being easily defeated. There is a difference here. When you're humiliated, it means that your ego has been destroyed by what happened, that you cannot even live with yourself because of that defeat. Let's try to do this in chronological order, starting off with Mizuki in the first chapter of the story. He gets absolutely pummeled by Naruto after berating Naruto, saying he's worth nothing because he has 9 tails in him, and it's very satisfying to see him lying almost dead after this dude that's not even a genin beating him up with 1,000 shadow clones. It's very satisfying to see that. We then move on to the bell test when Naruto fights against Kakashi, and fighting here isn't really the correct verb because Naruto is absolutely humiliated by Kakashi. I mean, it's this genin guy that doesn't really respect authority fighting against one of the most powerful jonins in the world. What do you expect? Of course, there's the classic 1,000 years of death jutsu that Kakashi pulls on Naruto, or should I say pushes, but anyway, that's the most glaring part of the humiliation Naruto goes through in this part of the story, but that's not just it. Kakashi stops 2 shurikens Naruto tossed against him with his fingers. He then substitutes himself for one of Naruto's clones, making him look like an idiot. It was just completely absolute humiliation there. I mean, Kakashi reading his naughty book while dodging Naruto's attacks without even looking at him will always be funny to look at. And yes, Naruto was definitely put in his place in that fight. And now we move on to the Chunin exams when, well, Sasuke and Rock Lee fought. Yes, fought. Fighting is also kind of a big word here because Rock Lee absolutely humiliated Sasuke. Sasuke felt so inferior to him because he couldn't even follow his movements. Even with a Sharingan activated, Rock Lee absolutely fondled Sasuke and also Naruto, if you remember correctly. Before Sasuke fights Lee, Naruto tries and rushes on Lee because Sasuke says, yeah, this guy's not worth my time, just go ahead and finish him off, Naruto. And then Rock Lee one-shots Naruto. He one-shots the protagonist of the story with a fluid taijutsu motion, and that's it. Naruto and Sasuke were both humiliated by Rock Lee there. In the Forest of Death, Sasuke was humiliated by Naruto when Naruto stopped Orochimaru's snake just with his sheer force. Of course, he was using the 9 tails, his chakra, to do that, but Sasuke was pretty much put in his place when Sasuke wanted to give up the scroll and not fight Orochimaru. Naruto was saying, no, we're gonna fight him, you chicken. And that was pretty much payback for when Sasuke said the same thing to Naruto. But at that time, sure, Naruto was a little bit humiliated when Sasuke defeated the Demon Brothers and Naruto couldn't do anything, so Sasuke called Naruto a chicken there, but still, it wasn't as bad as Naruto stopping the entire snake and throwing those words back at Sasuke. We then move on to the preliminary fights, and there are a couple of very humiliating fights in that section of the story. Starting with Shino versus Zaku, a fight people really don't talk too much about, but it's a very interesting one. Shino is clever. He stops both of Zaku's exit holes with his bugs, even the holes from the arm that was broken, and Zaku just explodes himself. He was saying, yeah, I'm gonna destroy you, man, and boom, his arms are gone. Yeah, in the manga, the arms are blown off. It's much worse than in the anime. We then have Temari versus Tenten, which in the anime, Temari simply uses her wind style to just block every single attack Tenten throws against her without any difficulty whatsoever, while she is just humiliating Tenten all the way through. But the more interesting aspect of this fight is that in the manga, this fight's one panel. It just shows Temari holding Tenten on her fan and Tenten's passed out, and that's the entire fight. They skip over the fight and just show the results. Temari stomped Tenten so badly, well, Kishimoto didn't even draw the fight. Of course, this was because of pacing as well, but it's just to show how humiliating Tenten's defeat was, essentially. And then we got Choji versus Dosu, and Dosu one-shots Choji in his ball state. It's pretty sad, actually. Choji has no chance. He doesn't last very long at all. You could also argue that Shikamaru defeating Kin was very humiliating, because Shikamaru makes her hit her own head against the wall, which is pretty funny and humiliating to look at, to be honest, but still, not as bad as the other ones. We then move on to the Search for Tsunade arc, which introduces us to a character that really likes putting people down. Itachi Uchiha, of course. He shows up, counters Kurenai genjutsu with very little difficulty. I mean, he just looks at Kurenai, a genjutsu specialist, and reverts the genjutsu, kicking her down. Very humiliating. Kakashi then arrives, tries to fight against Itachi using his own Sharingan. Itachi puts him under Tsukiyomi, absolutely finessing this powerful Jonin. Kakashi even says, wait, why doesn't he kill me? He could have done that if he wanted to, and he's just torturing me here. That's a very tough fight for Kakashi. And then, not satisfied with that, Itachi pummels Sasuke into a pulp, almost. He's very mean to Sasuke in that arc. Sasuke is just trying to get his revenge, and Itachi saying, no, you're not ready yet, I'm just gonna spank you real hard here, real quick. And that really messes up with Sasuke psychologically. Because of that, he gets that final push to go and join Orochimaru eventually. Seeing the gap between him and Itachi absolutely destroying him there, and Sasuke couldn't do anything about it. That was too much for him. And then we get a very particular fight. Naruto versus Tsunade. And Tsunade beats Naruto with one finger. Now, if that's not humiliating someone, I don't know what is. Tsunade saying, yeah, I'm just gonna beat you with one finger, you stupid little boy. You're nothing compared to me. And she does, which is funny. And also proves the point that, yeah, Tsunade is strong and Naruto is way over his head here. Trying to shove the incomplete Rasengan on her, yeah, that wouldn't really work. We then get the first Naruto versus Sasuke fight on top of the hospital. And what happened in this fight is not really something Naruto does to Sasuke, but when Sasuke sees the damage the Rasengan caused on that water tank compared to his Chidori, after he thought, well, the Rasengan didn't do much because he only saw the front of the water tank, and when he saw the back, well, it was blown to pieces. That really messed up with Sasuke. That was humiliating for him. He couldn't fathom how Naruto had gotten so strong, and also this jutsu that was stronger than his Chidori made Sasuke feel small there. A lot of people say that's when Sasuke learned why the anime is called Naruto. And yeah, I mean, sure, Sasuke does win the fight after that one, but still, Naruto taught him a lesson in humility there. The next humiliating defeats were, well, the ones inflicted by Temari and Kankuro against Tayuya and Sakon. When the siblings of the Sand arrived, not Gar, because Gar's fight against Yor was difficult, but when Temari and Kankuro arrived to save the day, well, they completely humiliate their opponents, especially Kankuro trapping Sakon and Ukon in that thing, and then, well, that was a very brutal way to kill them. And also humiliated because they were screaming and pleading for their lives. That's never really good. We then move on to Naruto Shippuden, and the first real big time someone got destroyed in there was when Sasuke appeared for the first time. Naruto and Team 7 were very eager to bring Sasuke back, but he just said, nope, I'm not gonna do that, and Sasuke finessed Team 7 pretty quickly with his lightning style jutsus. He was also going to destroy them all with Kirin, and Orochimaru stopped Sasuke from ending the Naruto story right there. Probably a good call from Orochimaru so the story could continue here. But yeah, Sasuke really showed Naruto who evolved more during the time skip in that scene. It absolutely humiliated Naruto. And moving on, we have Hidan being absolutely humiliated by Shikamaru when Shikamaru gets his revenge. Hidan's all arrogant, thinking he can destroy Shikamaru whenever he wants, when Shikamaru draws the fight away from the main battle and he fights Hidan by himself. Even Kakashi is saying, oh, it's a shame, Shikamaru would be a big reward in the future, but now Hidan's just gonna kill him. But then Shikamaru proves them all all wrong by setting up a plan that not only destroys Hidan, but also manages to take one of Kaku's hearts away. The way he absolutely finessed Hidan, being able to put Kakuzu's blood on Hidan's blade so that Hidan would use the ritual on Kakuzu, was pretty humiliating. Just the sheer intellectual difference between Shikamaru and Hidan is already way too much for Hidan to handle, and then with the paper bomb traps and the hole Shikamaru set up on the ground, he literally explodes Hidan into pieces, and Hidan falls down the hole, his head screams, "I'm gonna get you one day! I'm gonna bite you!" and stuff like that. It's pretty bad, humiliating stuff. And Shikamaru is just overlooking the entire thing with Asuma's lighter just giving this cold stare, and then he just buries Hidan alive. Very humiliating defeat with the added bonus of finessing one of Kaku's hearts. The next time that a character gets humiliated in the story is a little bit, well, different. In the Sasuke versus Deidara fight, it was a very tough fight, but in that fight, Deidara felt humiliated over and over again because Sasuke was doing something to counter Deidara's moves every time, especially genjutsu, which Deidara had trained to counter, and he couldn't because Sasuke's art was better than his, and that's the worst humiliation for Deidara. Yes, the fight was extremely hard. It wasn't a humiliating fight, but Deidara felt absolutely bad during that fight, especially when he was about to lose everything. Though he thought, well, that he won the fight as he was dying because, well, the Caesar is a powerful jutsu. Nobody would expect someone to survive the one, but Sasuke managed to do so. And then when Deidara returns and finds out Sasuke actually survived, it's even worse for him, even more humiliating. His final art didn't work against Sasuke. Now we move on to the war arc. And this is the arc we get introduced to the guy that really likes putting his opponents down, flexing on them, and humiliating them whenever he can. Madara Uchiha starts off by fighting the entire alliance at once, at least the 4th Battalion, which is about 20,000 ninjas, in taijutsu. Granted, he was killing a lot of them, but it wasn't humiliating per se. It is expected that someone like Madara would do some damage to ninjas that are not in the highest tier of the verse, even though if it's in taijutsu. But Naruto, Onoki, and Gaara were able to fight him off for a while there and retain the worst of the damage that he could have caused. It's, well, then when the first big thing happens, Madara tosses 2 meteors against the Shinobi Alliance. He even says, "Wow, congratulations, Inoki, you caught one. Now what are you just gonna do about the second one?" And then he drops the second meteor, killing, what, 20,000 ninjas at once? That's pretty rough. Everyone that was hit by the meteor felt small and insignificant. Absolutely humiliated by this guy. You're just ants for him, nothing else. Of course, it doesn't stop there for Madara, no. He fights the 5 Kage all at once. That's one of the more interesting fights in the entire series, I would say. And honestly, it's just a sequence of him humiliating the Kages, outsmarting them, not taking the fight seriously at all. Sure, they're able to throw a couple of punches in, but nothing that Madara couldn't shake off. I mean, the classic lines, "Well, would you like my clones to use Susanoo or not?" And then him telling Tsunade that weak people disgusted him, and weak senjus disgusted him even further. Of course, the most humiliating moment was when he pulled his perfect Susanoo, and the 5 Kage were just like standing there gawking at the Susanoo with nothing they could do whatsoever. They could just accept their fate there. They were literally also ants compared to Madara. Tsunade was even questioning herself, how did my grandfather fight this guy? It's impossible. And then Madara says, well, think of it the positive way. At least when Hashirama isn't here, you're not gonna have to redraw the maps that much. And then he promptly destroys a mountain range in the distance with only the wind caused by him unsheathing the Susanoo sword. Pretty metal, yeah. This guy doesn't really play around. I mean, he actually does play around a lot. He was just kidding. He wasn't taking the 5 Kage seriously at all. He was kind of watching the fight. His arms were crossed the entire time and he was having fun testing his new jutsus. So yeah, he does play around a lot actually. The 5 Kage only survived the perfect Susanoo because Itachi countered the Edo Tensei in the nick of time. And yes, Itachi was quite humiliating in that fight against Kabuto, putting him under Izanagi, a jutsu that makes you kind of drool and become a zombie stuck in this cycle in your head. That's pretty rough for Kabuto, but I don't really like that jutsu. It comes out of nowhere. It's the perfect jutsu to win the fights, so I just don't really like putting it here that much, but yeah, it's kind of humiliating, especially when Itachi says, "The weakness of your jutsu is me," and it actually was. But we're not done talking about Madara. When Madara arrives in the battlefield of Kakashi, Guy, B, Naruto fighting against Obito, Naruto says, where are the 5 Kage? And Madara just says, well, they are probably not doing so well. And yes, I don't like this trope of leaving the enemy alive because you just didn't bother to double tap them, but that's pretty much what Madara did here. Then Naruto tries to rush at him, and Madara promptly blocks his Bijudama casually, very casually with his fan, blasting the Bijudama back on Naruto. Pretty humiliating actually. And then Madara is able to use the Wood Dragon to restrain the full Kurama avatar. Pretty cool. And no, Madara is not done yet. When Madara gets revived, he quite literally skewers Sasuke with his sword. Sasuke comes from behind Madara, even distracted by Tobirama. Madara is able to pinpoint Sasuke's location with his limbo clone and stop him midair. Sasuke literally freezes and he can't do anything at all. Madara then grabs Sasuke's own sword and stabs him in the heart. Pretty damn humiliating. Everyone thought Sasuke and Naruto were pretty powerful in that moment of the story, but clearly that wasn't the case for Madara. He was just way more powerful and decided to show that. I mean, Madara monologues while he's about to pierce Sasuke's heart while Sasuke can literally do nothing. I don't know if there's anything more humiliating than that. And of course, Madara also humiliates every single tail beast in that fight because he's able to knock all of them out in, I don't know, like 5 seconds, one punch each, and they're gone. And then Madara simply summons the Geromazo, seals them all, kills Naruto in the process, almost. I mean, Naruto's the protagonist. You don't almost kill the protagonist very easily. And Madara takes the 9 tails away from him. Pretty casually, might I add, as well. So yeah, Madara was pretty much unstoppable in that point of the story. He was humiliating people left and right. The problem is that, after this, Madara himself was humiliated by the way he died. Kishimoto really humiliated Madara in that way, making Zetsu be, well, the mastermind of everything in the shinobi world, stabbing Madara from behind, one of the most stupid moments in the history of fiction. And yes, that was pretty much it for Madara. He's dead, he's gone. I guess karma, right? He humiliated so many people that he suffered the worst humiliation in the entire story. No, really shouldn't have ended like that. But anyway, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like this video if you enjoy my content. And also watch this video right here for more Naruto content as well. Thank you so much for watching.